I've been pretty excited for this game ever since it was announced. It's not too often that Nintendo makes a new IP, and even rare that they actually market the new IP properly. They've proven time and time again that they really don't understand marketing. Their advertisements are rare and often terrible, and they seem to have very little notion of which of their products will or will not be successful. But not with Splatoon. They have turned over a new leaf. There were ads in stores 2.5 months before release, multiple online and TV ads, a global playable demo, fan art competitions, 3 amiibo, costumes in Smash Bros, frozen yogurt flavors, stadium ads, redesigning a skate park, even having Playboy models come to try their game. Wait, that last one was just media coverage? Not marketing? Aww, that would have been hilarious otherwise. So many inappropriate jokes wasted. Nintendo's been setting up this game to be their next big thing, a major Nintendo IP. Reggie Fils-Aimé himself stated that the game is aiming to do for shooters what Mario Kart did for racing. They've set the bar pretty damn high for this game, to the point that I kind of doubted that it would actually deliver on the hype. Did it actually succeed? Let's find out. You start out the game with character customization, creating an Inkling, the adorable squid kids that are the protagonists of this game. You can choose your gender, skin tone, and eye color. So in my case, male, white as paper, and brown. You are then dropped straight into a tutorial, and... what the... oh god, these controls are weird. I hadn't been able to participate in the Splatoon Global Test Fire, so this was my first time ever experiencing these controls. And they are giving me motion sickness. I was able to get over that fairly quickly, but just a warning for those that have that kind of problem. While the controls are different, they aren't necessarily bad, just, well, different. They heavily utilize the gamepad's gyro sensors. Your aim is entirely reliant on tilting your gamepad, while you use the right control stick to turn and the left control stick to move. It's bizarre and hard to get used to the point that the game even lets you opt out of using the gamepad sensors altogether, and just use the right control stick to look around. Which you use really depends on personal preference, but after getting used to the gyro controls, I found that I preferred them. Splatoon has been heralded as Nintendo's answer to big-name shooter games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, which I find funny because it plays nothing like those games. You play in a third-person view, something that's necessary as it gives you a wider field of vision and allows you to seamlessly turn from a human to a squid to a human again. You can shoot, throw grenades, and use special moves while in human form, but in squid form you can hide in the ink and move much faster than in human form. Finishing up the tutorial, you get introduced to the game's story and the game's hub world, Inkopolis. Inkopolis houses multiple shops that you can customize your characters in, areas to enter in single player, local multiplayer, and online multiplayer matches, and a little kiosk for your amiibo. The shops are locked until you hit level 4 in multiplayer, but once you unlock them, you gain access to quite a variety of customizable equipment. You can customize your hats with this adorably shy enemy, with this very rude clownfish in her hair, your shirt with this cool jellyfish, and your shoes with this bizarre looking shrimp. Can't change your shorts though, which bugs me a little more than it should. They just don't match my shoes, gosh. Each piece of equipment comes with an ability that boosts your characters in multiplayer, such as higher attack, higher defense, faster respawns, slower ink use, and more. This allows you to customize your character based on your playstyle. If you find yourself dying a lot, bulk yourself up. If you have troubles killing people, boost your attack. You get the picture. As you play through the game, you unlock better gear that can hold more ability slots, making customizing your character surprisingly deep and strategic. Or you can just be like me and pick whatever looks the coolest. But by far the most important shop is the weapon shop, which is run by this... you know, I'm not entirely sure. Clam? I don't know. This guy, who will sell you a variety of different weapons. There are only 3 weapon types, a rapid-fire paint gun, a paint roller, and a chargeable, long-range sniper rifle. I was a bit disappointed that there are only 3, especially after seeing all the options that are in this shop, but these are just slight variations, such as a rapid-fire gun with higher damage, but uses paint faster, or a sniper rifle, with longer range, but a longer charge-up time as well. In addition to the 3 main weapons, you can have a large variety of secondary weapons, such as different kinds of grenades or a paint wall, and a very powerful special weapon, like the Ink Zuka or the Ink Strike. Each weapon comes with a predetermined loadout of secondary and special weapons. You're stuck with whatever the game gives you. This isn't that bad of a feature. The game is decently competent at giving you abilities that mesh well together, but it would have been nice if the players could choose for themselves which abilities to use. But since I couldn't even get into these shops until I hit level 4, I went straight into the multiplayer modes. Splatoon, at the time I'm writing this script, only has 2 game modes available for play, and only 6 maps, only 2 of which you can ever play at any given time. It's a little sparse on content, which is easily my biggest complaint with the game. Thankfully, we have confirmation that we will be getting lots of free DLC in the near future, adding more gear, weapons, maps, and modes to the game. And it's all free, which is good to know. But there's so little in the base game that I almost feel like I'm playing an unfinished product. Like Nintendo really had to rush to finish it for the summer. Again, this will be fixed with the free DLC, but I figure it's something that you'd want to know. So you enter the multiplayer hub and are given 3 options: to queue up for an online game, join a friend's game, or to start a ranked battle. And after we queue up, we get introduced to the core gameplay of Splatoon. You are split into teams of 4, your team being the good guys, and the other team being the bad guys. The goal of the game's unranked mode, Turf War, is to cover more of the map with your ink than your opponents in 3 minutes, while the goal of the ranked mode, Splat Zones, is to hold a specific area for 100 seconds. The gameplay is very fast-paced and intense. You have to be constantly moving and painting or you will lose, and you will lose badly. You can be winning for most of the game, but mess up once at the end, and the other team will win. It's really competitive and addicting. And depending on your weapon loadout, the way you play will be completely different. The paint rollers are good at covering large amounts of area very quickly. They can throw off shotgun-like blasts of paint, and can kill people in one shot if you run into them. But they are also very short range and can be jumped over if your timing is good, making it very easy to strafe and dodge them if you know what you're doing. The snipers shoot out ink in a very long line, and are very good at killing players. However, it takes a while to charge them, and I find they are the worst at covering areas with ink. And the rapid-fire guns are a nice middle ground. They spread paint fairly quickly, can kill people fairly quickly, and have a decent range. Based on my experiences, I found the rollers to be the most fun to use, the rapid-fire guns to be the most useful, and the snipers... I didn't really enjoy using the snipers. Unlike most shooter games, killing your opponents does not win you the game. The only benefit you get from killing people is delaying them from painting and preventing them from killing you. You can have 8 deaths and 0 kills, but if you make sure to paint as much as possible, you will still win. It's extremely fun, but it's also very easy to tell that this is Nintendo's first foray into this genre of gaming. For one thing, there is almost no way to communicate with your teammates, other than 2 phrases, being "Booyah!" and "Come on!", which aren't even remotely helpful, and can be interpreted multiple ways. There is absolutely no voice chat, which Nintendo claims is because they wanted to promote a healthy, fun environment, which you wouldn't find in any other games of this kind. I would appreciate this, but that's what a is for, and a complete lack of communication with your teammates can lose you a game. At the very least, why can't we have voice chat with our friends? The Wii U gamepad has a mic built in. Why aren't you using it? My personal theory for this is that the Wii U can't handle voice chat. I've already had several laggy matches where I'd spray ink and it wouldn't appear for 5 seconds, or kill someone and having the same person kill you after they are already dead. Voice chat would probably make this lag even worse. It might even be why the weapons have pre-decided loadouts, in order to make it easier for the game to load them. After you finish each match, this chubby cat declares the winner, and you gain experience and money based on how well you did. If you're playing ranked battles, you will also grow in rank. As you level up, you gain access to more weapons and clothing. Your equipment can also level up, which gives them more abilities. The max level is 20, and based on how much I've played, that will take a decent amount of time to reach. That's about everything for online multiplayer. But how about the local multiplayer? Well, this may be the first Nintendo game in their history to have a bad local multiplayer but a great online one. There is only 2-player multiplayer locally, and all it is a multiplayer version of the tutorial at the beginning of the game. You just compete to see who can pop the most balloons. Given how fun the game is, I'm really disappointed that this is the best thing they could come up with. Let's move on to the single player. The story in this game is almost non-existent. It basically boils down to, the great Zapfish powers the city. It has been stolen by octopus people. We better get it back, or we'll be in trouble. Maybe. There are 28 missions and 5 bosses, none of which take a terribly long time to do. It took me about 6 hours to fully complete the entire thing. The levels themselves are pretty diverse. Almost every single one introduces a new element or challenge, like sponges, which you can shoot with paint to inflate them, or octopus snipers that you have to avoid. And most of them are pretty fun, other than the repeated ink strike levels, which started to get on my nerves. There's also a hidden scroll in each level, which reveals lore about the Splatoon universe. There's no real incentive to collect the scrolls beyond the lore, but it's interesting enough that I want to find them all, and they aren't that hard to find as is. The equipment you use in single player is actually completely different from the equipment you use in multiplayer. You can find these little orange things, which allow you to purchase upgrades for your weapons. This means that your time in single player doesn't benefit your time in multiplayer, and vice versa. The only exception to this are the weapon schematics you can get from the bosses in this game. The bosses... I was a bit disappointed with the bosses. Once you figure out their gimmick, they are all very easy, with the exception of the final boss. I won't spoil the fight for you guys, but it is absolutely amazing. You will love it, trust me. There is one more major feature that I want to cover in this review, and that is the amiibo. Splatoon may very well be my favorite example of how to do amiibo right. The amiibo are tied to the single player missions, each one unlocking unique challenges to go through. The boy Inkling unlocks the ability to use the roller in single player, the girl Inkling unlocks the sniper to use, and the squid unlocks time trials. Completing these challenges will unlock new equipment and weapons for your Inkling. The squid gives you a mech suit, the boy gives you samurai armor, and the girl gives a schoolgirl uniform? So basically, the amiibo effectively quadruple the amount of time you spend in single player, without locking out too much content in the base game. If you do get in this game, it's very worthwhile to buy all 3 amiibo. And that is pretty much all the game has to offer. Again, a little sparse on content. But before I give you my final verdict, here are several specific things that I really liked and disliked about Splatoon. I love seeing all the different Inklings and Miiverse drawings in Inkopolis. And if you see an Inkling whose equipment you want, you can actually order it from this back alley sea urchin. I don't use that feature, I like unlocking things myself, but it's a cool feature. The game lets you play a very simple minigame when you wait for multiplayer games to start. By simple, I mean that I could probably program it. They aren't anything even remotely special. But it's a nice way to kill the time. This only happened to me once, but the time it did was infuriating. I tried to join a multiplayer game, but apparently I was trying to connect to a game that already had 8 people. So I was left with a message on screen saying, "You can join once the game is finished," which means I would have to wait 3 minutes to play. Now this wouldn't be a problem, except Splatoon doesn't let you leave multiplayer games, apart from turning off your Wii U system. So I was just forced to sit there and wait 3 minutes until I could play again. I really wish they implemented more of the single-player concepts in multiplayer. For example, using ink rails to travel faster across the map, or maybe battling for control of these patrolling ink spreaders. There were so many cool ideas that could have worked so well in multiplayer. I really hope Nintendo revisits them in future DLC. Having a team who doesn't know what they're doing will ruin your game. This is true for any multiplayer game, but it's detrimental nonetheless. Since there's no way to leave a game in Splatoon without turning off your Wii U, there really isn't a punishment for it either. Meaning that you can completely screw over your team by leaving without any consequences whatsoever. I really hope Nintendo does something to remedy this in the future, because it is nearly impossible to win a game when your opponents outnumber you. There are so many cheesy puns in this game, and I love them all. Until I played the single-player mode, I really disliked the Squid Sisters. They really annoyed me, especially with their constant news updates. The single player got me to appreciate them, but I still really wish I could skip their constant news broadcasts. There's a special weapon called the Kraken that I absolutely hate. It turns your Inkling into a giant invincible kraken that instantly kills everything it touches. It's very frustrating to ambush a player, only for them to turn into a kraken and kill you. And lastly, I have already stated this, but it's worth repeating. The final boss in this game is amazing. It's a long, challenging, epic battle, with amazing music and hilarious dialogue. I replayed the fight immediately after beating it. I enjoyed it that much. Overall, this is a very, very fun game. A bit sparse on content, but Nintendo's constantly adding free stuff to the game, so the experience will only improve. It's not a perfect game, there's definitely room for improvement, but I can definitely see Splatoon becoming Nintendo's next big franchise. It's a brilliant concept and very fun to play. I'd highly recommend for you guys to try it out. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching my review. If you liked it, please do me a big favor by liking and sharing the video, as well as leaving your thoughts on Splatoon in the comment section below, and subscribe to my channel to see when I post my latest videos. If you didn't like it, and think I'm a stupid idiot who should quit making videos, good for you! I will ignore your opinion, after which you can dislike the video, leave a hateful remark in the comments below, and subscribe to hate on all my future videos as well. How about you guys follow me on Twitter, where I give updates on my videos and brag about my new amiibo, or my gameplay channel, where you can see just how bad I am at live commentary. Maybe you want to see some of my other reviews, in which case you can click the annotation on screen to see a playlist of all the reviews I've made. Isn't that handy? E3 is right around the corner, and I'm going to be making a ton of videos during the whole thing. So stay tuned for those videos, and until then, I hope you're all enjoying life, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!